When the company's arrogant CEO found her car vandalized right before her most important meeting, all eyes turned to the quiet janitor, a struggling single father. But when the truth came out, no one could hold back their tears. The sun had barely risen when the glass towers of Horizon Tech shimmered in the golden light, signaling another high-stakes day. Inside the sleek corporate building, Amelia Grant, the company's young and ambitious CEO, moved briskly through the marble lobby, her heels clicking sharply against the floor. She was a woman in her early 30s, elegant, commanding, and precise, with a reputation for perfection that both inspired and intimidated those around her. Today was crucial. She was scheduled to present a multi-million-dollar deal to global investors, a presentation that could define the future of her company and her career. Everything had to be flawless. But as Amelia exited the elevator and headed toward the parking lot, a wave of confusion rippled through the employees gathered near the glass entrance. A security guard, pale-faced and stammering, rushed to her side. "Miss Grant, your car. Someone slashed your tires." Amelia froze, disbelief clouding her sharp gaze. "What did you just say?" she demanded. The guard led her outside to the lot, where her sleek black sedan sat helplessly, its tires shredded into rubber ribbons. Anger surged through her chest, her breath coming fast. "Who would do this?" she snapped, scanning the area. Just a few feet away, sweeping the edge of the lot in his faded blue janitor's uniform, stood Ethan Cole, a quiet man in his mid-30s, with tired eyes and kind hands, the kind of person who always kept his head down and worked without complaint. Beside him, a little girl with a pink backpack, his daughter Lily, waited patiently, swinging her legs and humming softly before school. A voice from behind muttered, "I saw him here earlier near the car." It was enough to light the fuse. Amelia's anger found its target. She marched toward Ethan, her tone sharp as broken glass. Did you do this?" Ethan turned, startled, dropping his mop. "Ma'am, no, I don't know what you mean." His voice trembled, confusion written across his face. "Don't lie to me," Amelia snapped. "Someone saw you near my car this morning. Do you have any idea how important today is?" The janitor's shoulders slumped, his hands trembling slightly. "I was just cleaning the area, ma'am. I swear I didn't—" "Enough!" she cut him off, her eyes blazing with frustration and disbelief. "You're fired, effective immediately. Security will escort you out." Ethan's face drained of color. His daughter looked up at him, her small voice breaking the tension. "Daddy, what's happening?" The sound of that innocent voice stopped a few onlookers cold, but not Amelia. Her mind was too clouded with rage and stress. Ethan knelt down, gently brushing Lily's hair from her face. "It's okay, sweetheart," he whispered softly, though his eyes glistened with shame. "Daddy will fix this." As the guards led him away, Ethan turned back once, giving a final glance to Amelia, a look not of anger but of quiet disappointment. She felt a twinge in her chest she couldn't explain, but she pushed it aside. After all, she told herself, justice had been served. Yet as the janitor disappeared through the glass doors, a strange heaviness settled over her, a whisper of guilt that, though small now, would soon grow into something that would change both their lives forever. That night, Amelia Grant sat in her high-rise apartment overlooking the city skyline, but the view that usually gave her pride now brought no comfort. The faint reflection of her own face in the glass seemed to accuse her silently. The meeting that day had gone well. Investors were impressed, deals were sealed, but even in success, something gnawed at her conscience. The janitor's eyes haunted her, those tired, honest eyes that didn't belong to a liar or a saboteur. She tried to shake it off, convincing herself she'd done the right thing, yet a voice deep inside whispered otherwise. Finally, unable to rest, she poured herself a cup of coffee and opened her laptop, accessing the building's security footage from that morning. As the video played, her chest tightened. There was Ethan sweeping calmly near the cars at dawn, his daughter skipping beside him, laughing about something. But then, only moments after he left the area, another figure entered the frame, a tall man in a grey hoodie, glancing around nervously before kneeling by her sedan. Within seconds, he jabbed a knife into her tires and darted off into the shadows. Amelia froze, the coffee cup trembling in her hand. Her heart dropped like a stone. Ethan didn't do it. A rush of guilt flooded her, burning hotter than her earlier anger. How could she have been so cruel, so certain? Without hesitation, she grabbed her car keys and drove across town, her mind racing. By the time she reached Ethan's apartment, the clock had passed midnight. The building was old, its paint peeling and the hallway dimly lit. When she knocked on the door, it opened slowly to reveal Ethan, still in his work clothes, fatigue etched into every line of his face. He looked surprised, then wary. "Miss Grant," he said softly, his daughter Lily asleep on the couch behind him, clutching a worn stuffed rabbit. Amelia's voice faltered. "Ethan, I came to apologize." She hesitated, swallowing hard. "I saw the footage. You didn't do it. Someone else did." Ethan didn't respond right away. He simply looked at her, long and quiet, the way a man does when he's weighing more than words. "You came all the way here for that?" he asked finally. "Yes," she said. "I made a mistake." He sighed, glancing back at Lily. "Mistakes have consequences, Miss Grant," he said, his tone gentle but heavy. "You didn't just take my job today. You took away my little girl's safety. She cried herself to sleep, thinking her daddy was bad." The words pierced Amelia's heart like glass shards. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I want to make it right." Ethan shook his head slowly. "Some things can't be fixed with an apology," he said, closing the door halfway. For a moment, they stood there, two people from opposite worlds, one burdened by guilt, the other by pain. As the door clicked shut, Amelia's reflection lingered faintly in the dusty glass. For the first time in years, she felt small, and though she didn't know it yet, that feeling would be the beginning of something far greater than forgiveness. It would be the start of redemption. The next few days at Horizon Tech were heavy with silence. Word of the tire-slashing incident and Amelia's hasty firing of the janitor had spread through the office like wildfire. Employees whispered in hallways, casting uncertain glances at their CEO. Amelia felt the weight of every stare, but she didn't try to silence them. She knew she deserved their judgment. In the privacy of her office, she replayed that security footage over and over, torturing herself with the truth. Every time she saw Ethan's weary face, she felt the sting of regret sharpen. Finally, she couldn't bear it any longer. She called her head of security, demanding a full investigation into the man in the grey hoodie. It didn't take long before the truth emerged. The vandal wasn't Ethan at all, but Martin Reeves, a former Horizon Tech technician Amelia had fired months earlier for theft. Martin, bitter and desperate, had confessed to a former co-worker that he wanted revenge. The revelation hit Amelia like a wave of shame. She hadn't just wronged an innocent man. She had destroyed the livelihood of a single father who already had little left. That evening, Amelia drove once again to the small, aging apartment complex on the east side of town. The air was thick with summer heat, and children played in the parking lot as the sun dipped low. When Ethan opened his door this time, he didn't look surprised. "You again," he said quietly. Amelia exhaled, her hands trembling slightly as she held a brown envelope. "Mr. Cole," she began, her voice soft, "I found the man who really did it. His name is Martin Reeves. He's been arrested. I cleared your name publicly, and I owe you more than an apology." She handed him the envelope, which contained not only an official reinstatement letter, but a promotion, facilities supervisor, with full benefits, a raise, and an educational allowance for Lily. Ethan stared at the papers, then back at her, disbelief flickering across his face. "You don't have to do this," he said. Amelia met his gaze earnestly. I do. I judged you without knowing your story. That's not leadership, that's arrogance. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want to make it right." For a long moment, Ethan said nothing. Then, from the couch, Lily peeked up sleepily, her stuffed rabbit in hand. "Is the lady here to give Daddy his job back?" she asked innocently. The question broke the tension in an instant. Amelia knelt down beside her, smiling faintly. "Yes, sweetheart, because your daddy's a good man. And I was wrong." Ethan's eyes softened, a storm of pride and sorrow mixing in them. "I'll come back," he said finally, "but not for the job, for the people who work hard and never get seen. You can't build a company on fear, Ms. Grant. It has to be built on respect." Amelia nodded slowly, feeling the truth of his words. "Then help me rebuild it," she whispered. And in that small, run-down apartment, two very different souls shook hands, not as CEO and janitor, but as equals. It was the first step toward redemption for both of them. Months passed, and Horizon Tech began to change, not in profits or policies first, but in spirit. Under Amelia's new approach, the company transformed from a place of silent fear to one of quiet pride. She had learned something that no leadership seminar could teach. True respect was not demanded, it was earned. Every morning now, as she entered the building, she was greeted not by rigid formality, but by genuine smiles. And at the center of it all was Ethan Cole. No longer the quiet janitor sweeping in the background, he now led the entire maintenance and support division as facilities supervisor, ensuring that everyone, from executives to custodians, was treated with dignity. His blue uniform had been replaced with a neatly pressed company jacket, but his humility never changed. Even after being given an office of his own, Ethan was still the first to arrive, mop in hand, whenever a spill needed cleaning. When colleagues asked why, he simply said, "Titles don't make the floor shine. People do." Amelia often found herself watching him from her glass-walled office, amazed by how naturally others gravitated toward his calm strength. Employees who once feared her icy presence now found comfort in Ethan's grounded leadership. His daughter Lily had become a familiar face too, visiting the office after school. She carried a shy smile that brightened even the dullest afternoon meetings, and everyone adored her, Amelia especially. She saw in Lily the reminder of her own mistakes and of the goodness that had brought her a second chance. One Friday afternoon, Horizon Tech held a special event in the main atrium. Employees gathered as Amelia stepped up to the podium, the same spot where she had once delivered cold quarterly speeches. But today, her tone was warm, her voice steady with emotion. "This company was built on innovation," she began. "But innovation means nothing without heart. A few months ago I forgot that, and one man reminded me what true integrity looks like." She turned toward Ethan, who stood near the crowd, humble as ever, his hands clasped nervously. "Ethan Cole," she continued, smiling, "you showed me that leadership isn't about power, but compassion. Because of you, Horizon Tech is not just a company, it's a family." Applause filled the room as Amelia revealed a new initiative, the Lily Fund, a scholarship program for employees' children in need. As she invited Ethan and Lily to the stage, the little girl's eyes widened in surprise. The crowd cheered as Amelia knelt beside her. "This," she said softly, "is in honor of a daughter who believed in her father, even when the world didn't." Tears welled in Ethan's eyes as he whispered, "Thank you for seeing us." Amelia smiled through her own tears. "No, Ethan. Thank you for teaching me how to." That night, as the office lights dimmed and the city glowed beyond the glass, Amelia watched Ethan lead his daughter toward the exit, her tiny hand in his. She realized then that heroes don't always wear suits or hold titles. Sometimes they wear blue uniforms and remind the world what humanity truly means. What would you have done if you were in Amelia's place? If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon. Because every day on Drew Daily Stories, we bring you emotional tales of love, redemption, and humanity that will restore your faith in people.